Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, we're going to be doing the eyeshadow palette tag. So this was created by Samantha March and Allie Glines. I'm pretty sure I seen them two do it, and I'm pretty sure that they created it together and did it as like a collab. But I really liked the video and I thought, you know what? Why don't we do that? So we're going to be talking eyeshadow palettes today. So make sure to subscribe down below. Give this video a thumbs up if you do enjoy it, and if you want to see my eyeshadow palettes, then just keep on watching. So I can't remember exactly how many categories there is, and I can't remember exactly how they go. I know it's not really great of me, but I literally just went through my eyeshadow palette collection and I just put like pieces of paper on the ones that I want to talk about. So yeah, I'm just gonna do it in the order that I can remember, and hopefully it's somewhat right, but I guess it don't really matter the order because you're still gonna be saying the same categories. So yeah, let's just go ahead and get started. So the first one is my all-time favorite eyeshadow palette, and my all-time favorite I chose was the Jaclyn Hill X Morphe palette. So this is an OG. I just feel like this will forever be in my collection. This is the first one I've ever gotten. It is a mess. If you've ever seen my declutters, my eyeshadow palettes, like, it's been used, it's been abused. I used to use this palette every single day. As you can see, I've hit pan on quite a few eyeshadow palettes. Some of them have so much eyeshadow dust that they really don't even look the same anymore. I still use this palette. Whenever I do someone else's makeup, I still bring this palette and use it. When I do my own makeup, I still reach for this palette all the time. I just love it. The quality on this one is better than most Morphe eyeshadow palettes, but yeah, I feel like if you got this when it first launched, like you waited on the Morphe website for what, like 30 minutes in line trying to get this palette, and it sold out like in 20 seconds, literally, like I feel like it just holds a special place in your heart because this palette was so hard to get when it first launched. So yeah, this is an all-time favorite. I will forever have this in my collection. Next is Fave Collab. So other than the Morphe X Jaclyn Hill, these are the two that kind of popped into my mind. And yes, I did do two, but for good reason. So the first one I feel like I didn't even expect to love it as much as I did is the Anastasia Carly Bible palette. As you can see, this one has been used and abused too. I did break this eyeshadow palette. These eyeshadows are really fragile. I feel like Anastasia's eyeshadows are super fragile and will break pretty easily. But yeah, I was obsessed with this palette. I would literally use this shade right here, this one, and this one like almost every single time I did my eyeshadow palette there for like a good few months. I mean, I hit pan on one, and then I have a pretty good dent going in these three. I just love the colors. I love this like cranberry shade. I like the shimmers in it. So I know a lot of people were disappointed in this palette, but I really loved it. And then I also want to show the Jackie Aina X Anastasia because these kind of came out at the same time. Mine's kind of a mess because I broke this shade right here, but if you have a deeper complexion, I wouldn't go for the Carly Bible. It probably wouldn't work on you. The Jackie Aina was created for deeper complexion, so I wanted to mention both because I absolutely love both of these. I honestly love both of them like just the same. They are so easy to blend. I love the shimmers. I feel like this is just such a like gorgeous palette. I was using these two eyeshadow palettes together for months. Like I would honestly just reach into both of these constantly, so I feel like I had to mention these two together because they kind of got released in like the same week. It felt like, honestly, like this one came out and then it was like this one came out, so I want to mention both. But next category is can't get rid of, or it's like not a favorite but I can't get rid of it. And again, I have two, but they're pretty much the same to me. So that is the Norvina ABH collection. These are so expensive. These are like $70, and I just don't ever reach for them. I don't know. It's not that I don't like the formula on these, because the formula on these are nice. When I use them, I do like the formula. I know I've heard some like mixed opinions. I kind of wish, like, if I knew she was going to come out with more, I like the two that she came out with last more than these two, because the color story on these just kind of confused me. This one not as much. This one kind of just like is a little all over the place. Like, it has like pinks, purples, greens, yellows, reds, oranges. Like, it just kind of confuses me a little bit, so I definitely don't reach for these a lot. But for some reason I can't get rid of them. I think it's just because they were so expensive. These were $70 a piece, so definitely a hefty price tag. So it's just hard for me to get rid of them. And I always think, I'm like, well, what if I need this color? I feel like they have really unique colors in them, and I'm always like, well, what if I need that lime green or that bright red or that purple that I don't use? So yeah, these are the ones that I just like can't get rid of. Next is what I think is the most underrated palette, and that is the Huda Beauty Wild Jaguar palette. I feel like I've only ever heard Babs Beauty talk about this one, and I did feel like it kind of had a little bit of hype, but like not really. I love this palette. This is such a good travel palette for me because I love like more cooler, mauvier tones on my eyeshadow or on my eyes. And I love this palette. I use it all the time. I love the mattes. It's super blendable. It has really unique shimmers in it that could be toppers, that could be like metallics. I just really like this. I think the formula on this palette is amazing. It's one of her best palettes in my opinion. And I feel like it's really underrated and no one really talks about this palette, but I'm obsessed with this one. I use it literally all the time. So yeah. And then next is the new favorite. So this is the Patrick Ta 4 Eyes palette. You guys, since I got this palette, I haven't been able to stop using it. You get like these nice glitter shades in it. You get nice, beautiful mattes that blend so easily. And then you get 2 cream shades. I've only played with the cream shades once. I can't really speak to the cream shades too much, but I love the mattes in this palette. I love the glitters. I'm constantly reaching for this palette. This is like my go-to everyday palette now. I just love it. And even though these are warmer tones and I tend to go for more cooler tones, something about this still just works. Like, they're still warm, but they're not like orange, you know, like those orange based like warm shades. So I feel like they lean a little bit more neutral and they're just super flattering on the eye. And I just literally, I cannot get enough of this palette. It's super expensive, but to me it's so worth it because it's such a good everyday palette that I feel like everyone's gonna love. And like, these glitter shades, like I've said before, are very subdued. Like, they just look, it's not like an in-your-face glitter. It's like a very nice just like wash of glitter, I guess, where it just looks nice and like wet on the eyes. It just looks so pretty. So yeah, this is my new favorite palette. This is the palette that I didn't expect to love, and I chose the Rose Quartz palette by Huda Beauty. So this one is a little bit more newer, but I use this palette a lot more than I even expected to. So you do kind of get more of this cooler, mauvier tone pinks, which again, I do like really cool tone palettes. And you can keep this you can keep an eye look with this palette pretty like every day, because they have some nice just like cooler toned everyday shades. You can add a little bit of pink in it, but the shimmers in this palette is like what makes it so gorgeous. I mean, like, I'm obsessed with these shimmers. They're just such a like pretty like wet looking shimmer on the eye that just has like a nice like duochrome. So I don't really use this clear shade or something, this like cream wet shade. I don't really use that one, but I really do like this palette. I think it's such a good one if you like pinks, cooler tones, mauves kind of looks. You're gonna love this palette. Now if you don't like pinks, then I wouldn't pick this palette up, because the whole palette does lean a little bit more pink, but again, you do have this cooler tone mauve shades that you could wear just every single day and then like amp it up with one of the shimmers. So I've been reaching for this palette more than I ever expected to. And then the next one is one that sparks joy. So to me, when I think of that, I think of one that I just open and I'm just like inspired and I just want to do something colorful. So the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde This palette is so unique in my opinion. Like, yes, it does have like those blues, purples, and pinks. But again, the shimmer, she just like kills it with the shimmer shades. When she does it good, she does it amazing. So, that was on. So I just like, when I look at this palette, the shimmers especially just inspire me to do something unique, something colorful. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Like, I love Huda Beauty's formula. I've really come to know it over the past like year, and I'm obsessed with her shimmers. I know her shimmers can be kind of hit or miss. Like, sometimes they're just like those sheer toppers, and then sometimes they're like really intense metallics, which again, for me, I don't mind a sheer topper. Sometimes I'm more in the mood for that than I am for like a crazy metallic. So yeah, I really love this. The shimmer shades in this one remind me a lot of the ones in the Rose Quartz, like the formula, not so much the colors. Just like that nice like creamy formula that just looks wet on the eyes, and they just have the prettiest sheen. So then the next one is my 2021 favorite. So this is the Natasha Denona Glam palette. So I actually think I bought this in 2020, but I think it was like in October or November of 2020, but I have been using it all the time since I've gotten it. Again, it's just such a good everyday palette for someone who's like me, who likes that cooler tone look but not gray. I love that these are cooler tone, but you still have like very neutral shades. So like this one is pretty, I would say it's definitely more neutral for the cooler tones. I just love this palette. I feel like it's unique because it's hard to find good cool toned eyeshadow palettes, and I just think this one is so nice. Of course, it's Natasha Denona, so the formula is just amazing on it. The shimmers are beautiful. Yeah, I love Natasha Denona palettes, and this one is my favorite one by far that she has released. And one that I keep for the memories. So I actually didn't know what I was going to do for this one, and then I seen this and I was like, this is like 2013 2012 makeup era. So this is the Makeup Geek eyeshadows. So if you have been on the makeup YouTube world for a while, you know these Makeup Geek eyeshadows. If you've watched Jaclyn Hill especially, then you know what Makeup Geek is. So I just remember saving up so much money to buy the C palette, to buy these eyeshadows, and as you can see, they are loved. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm scraping the sides on some of these. I haven't used this in like years, obviously, because it's really old. The formula is not good on these anymore. The shadows aren't good. They're probably, honestly, these are probably like 8 years old, if not older. They're probably like the first eyeshadow palette that I splurged on when I was really young and just getting into makeup. So I use these all the time. I mean, from what I can remember, they were really good. Obviously, I use them so much now. I don't know how they would compare to like eyeshadow palettes now. I feel like I can't ever get rid of this, even though I'm never going to use these again and they're so old, but they're just like, I mean, literally like what, Cocoa Bear, or what was this one? Creme Brulee, Peach Smoothie, Peaches and Cream. Like, takes me back to 2013. I think it's like 2013, somewhere around there. So I have to keep it for the memories, even if it's like 20 years old, I'm keeping it. Okay, and then we only have two more. So I have the newest palette to my collection is the Candy Skies by Laura Lee x Aaron Weaver. So I got this for Christmas this year, and I really do like this palette. I feel like I haven't played with it enough. I've used like the purples, and I used like this macaroon shade, and I used some of these like lilacs, but I really want to play with these like greens and blues. They're just so pretty. I love the aesthetic of this palette. I feel like it leans a little bit more pastel, and it's hard to find colors that are easy to work with and blendable, but are like those pastel kind of shades. And from what I have used, I haven't had any problems with this, but I just think this palette is so beautiful. I think the outer packaging is gorgeous. I feel like they killed it with this palette. So yeah, I got this for Christmas or I guess in 2021 now. And then the last category is the first palette worn in 2022. So this, I can't exactly remember, but I want to say this was my first palette I wore in 2022. This is the Lunar Beauty Life's a Drag Facelift palette. And I actually used this today on my eyes, but I love Lunar Beauty's formula. I've talked about them a bunch on my channel because I just love his formula. The mattes are always so creamy, so easy to blend, and the shimmers are always just give you such a nice, like, wet metallic eye. I just love this palette. I want to say this is the first one that I wore in 22. I can't exactly remember, but I'm pretty sure it was this palette, which I did love the original Life's a Drag palette. I would use Hunty, Sickening, and Mug literally all the time, and I still do love his formula. They just added a few more shades, so yes, this is my first palette I wore in 2022. Okay guys, so that is all the eyeshadow palettes I want to mention. I know I didn't do them in exact order, but I just thought this would be a fun video to film. So if you want to do this on your own channel, I will leave all of the categories down below with all these eyeshadow palettes linked in case you're curious. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!